Hello and welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to another 24/7 news report. The big headline coming out today is that Everton and Bayer Leverkusen have joined the race for Lyon forward Georges MIKAUTADZE. The two clubs have sounded out the players' entourage regarding their interest in a move, and that comes from Foot Mercato. McAtee is a bit of a different player to the style of striker we have. We have a lot of big strikers, big, bring the ball down, move the ball forward. McAtee's a bit different, a shorter, more nimble, get the ball forward with his feet style of striker. 7 goal contributions in 20 games so far. That's 6 goals, 1 assist in the League and the Europa League. And his ability to drive the ball up the field, from what I've seen anyway, from very limited clips and very limited watching of Lyon games, to be honest with you. Seems like someone who can bring the ball in. Seems like someone who, more different to a Calvert-Lewin, can receive the ball to feet, turn and drive instead of receiving it in the air. Someone who also can pick the ball up and drive himself. Similar to, maybe not in the ability tab, but if you look at someone like how Matheus Cunha, what he does with Wolves, where he's able to pick the ball up really deep and then drive and start attacks, he seems like someone who does have the ability to do that. But it's one where we'll have to see where things go. We're interested in a lot of strikers right now, but we also have a lot of strikers in the club. So I think if any news for strikers is going to come through, it's going to rely on another striker leaving the club. And ironically, that comes next from Tuttosport, and that is that Roma are favourites to sign Beto this coming January, with the striker pushing to leave Everton. The Blues would like to send Beto out on loan with an obligation to buy for €20 million. Am I surprised? This, not really. It doesn't really surprise me if Roma's straightforward for the obligation to buy for Beto, and that gets us €20 million in the summer, which I'm not going to complain. I don't care that it's the Friedkins of a club doing it, to be honest. The money's the money. It's as simple as that, if you ask me. And yeah, it's one of those where we'll have to see how things go. But to be honest with you, I'd much rather us just get the saga over with. I much prefer Broja. And if Broja can have a really good set of games for us, it wouldn't surprise me if the club would be interested in signing Broja, because I do know that there is apparently an option to buy in his Chelsea deal. But yeah, it's one of those where I wasn't shocked to see Roma announce as an interest as soon as the Friedkins were takeover was done, to be honest, because Roma have had their own striker troubles this season. I think they probably expected a lot more out of Artem Dovbyk, buying him out of Girona. And yeah, I think they just need a bit more options up front, because it feels like it's mainly Dovbyk and Dybala and not really anyone else. So it's one of those where, again, I'm not shocked at all. And some big news coming after his big game for Man City, and that's that Everton are preparing a contract for Jordan Pickford that could see him remain at Goodison Park until retirement. Sources suggest the deal would run until at least 2030, with an option to extend even further. This is according to Graham Bailey of TBR Football. Hopefully, again, I think he's one of the best 5 goalkeepers in the league, and I don't even think it's close, to be honest with you. I think he's locked in one of those spots, and I think he proved it against one of the best goal scorers in the division, in the world. Erling Haaland stepped up, saved his penalty, and was vital in keeping us in a game that you really could argue, if it wasn't for a really bad lapse in judgment from Jack Harrison at the end, could have ended in 3 points away at the Etihad, something which it seemed to evade this club after how much City have been able to dominate us over the years. So it would have been really nice, but hopefully, again, Pickford can. Pickford's probably already locked in as one of the best players for Everton in the Premier League era. He's been amazing and could fit right in at a top 4 side without any surprise, to be honest with you. So I would love to see us get to keep him. Moving on to more striker news, is that Everton are one of the sides who are showing interest in Borussia Mönchengladbach striker Tim Kleindienst. According to a German outlet, Blid, Wolves are also said to be interested. Kleindienst is one of those who fits more of the Sean Dyche model of striker, big, huge guy at about 6'4.5", 6'5", but performing out of the park this season in the Bundesliga. 13 goal contributions in 15 games with 9 goals and 4 assists. Very good defensive numbers as well, which really doesn't surprise me for this Dyche system. He really wants a striker who can get back at the halfway line and defend. And again, for the way we are with set pieces, having someone that tall to come and get the head on set pieces, it's not really a shocker. But yeah, seems like someone who's more willing to not receive much of the ball but make a run forward, constantly be making moves into the box to try score. Sort of a different mold to someone like a Calvert-Lewin, maybe more of a Beto, even though the passes attempted numbers are okay, so it feels like he might be a hybrid of the two. But yeah, we'll have to see that, but that does feel like a much more Sean Dyche striker than maybe someone the Freakins want who may want to play a bit more ambitious football. And moving on to some injury news from Sean Dyche, he's given an update on the squad ahead of Nottingham Forest on Sunday. Dyche is hopeful to have both Iliman and Coleman in the squad, saying, "We've got to make sure on Iliman. I took him off last game for a minor tightness in his calf. We're hopeful that will have settled, and Seamus is similar, just a precaution." Hopefully so. I think both are excellent, of course. And Dye's touch and then goal with the outside of his boot, absolutely fantastic. And the guy's electric whenever he plays for us. I could sit here and rant and rave about Iliman and Dye for hours if you let me, but without him, it feels like the team won't perform to their best, even if we have everyone else available, to be honest with you. And I think Seamus was really good against Man City. I think he did a really good job at containing players like a Jeremy Doku and like a Bernardo Silva, even though Bernardo did end up scoring. I think he did a very good job for someone of his age and much better than the 10 years younger left back on the other side. So I think it's, it's interesting, and it really wouldn't surprise me if you see a Mykolenko drop for a Coleman and a Young, which honestly I think is probably the best shout, to be honest with you, with how just bad Mykolenko's been this season, if I'm being honest with you. But he also mentioned Dwight McNeil, and he said we'll have to wait and see. It's still a bit touch and go. It's still a bit of a touch and go scenario with these games coming thick and fast. So it's a maybe on the minute as to whether Dwight makes it. Hopefully that means we at least get McNeil on the bench, and he can maybe get a 15-20 minute run out towards the end of the game, because I do think Iliman and Dye should be given the centre now, should be given the number 10 position, and Dwight McNeil should be pushed back out onto the left, if I'm being honest. We've played so much better with Decore in the 10 compared to how we were playing with McNeil, and I do think Ndai still works hard enough defensively that he could play in that 10 role. You saw that with how much he was tracking back against Man City. I think it's time now to give that number 10 spot to Iliman Ndai, push McNeil back out to the wing, and then I think that is probably the best Everton side that we can start this season. But that is all for the news. If you did enjoy, please make sure to like and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at Everton Newsfeed, and follow me on Twitter at Callum Branham3. And I will see you all for the next video and or live stream that I'm on. Goodbye, everyone.